Welcome to Wealth Coffee Chats, folks, for your daily live updates. Get the most out of today's episode by participating in the chat. Make sure you ask some questions, be part of the conversation, have a bit of fun, grab a coffee or a tea, take some notes, and get ready to start your day, folks. Quick few housekeeping rules, though. No spamming, no advertising or self-promotion in the chat. That's not on. Be kind and respectful to everyone when participating. And most of all, have a good time. Real estate investing can be your biggest asset. It also can be your most expensive asset when it comes to getting it right or getting it wrong, folks. It can be time-consuming, stressful, and that's why here at Positive, we have what's called a 6-star team, a full-service team that provides integrated wealth and property investing solutions and services simply designed to help you progress towards your goal of passive income through your property portfolio, folks. Make sure you check out our other podcasts on the Positive Mentor Network. Not only is there Wealth Coffee Chats, there's the Urban Property Investor. Drops every Wednesday with straight talking investing strategies and lessons with Sam Saggers. Property Investor Tales. This is where our clients, you guys, share real life stories from property investing, hosted by some of our advisors and strategists. And that's done every fortnight, dropping every Monday. Wealth, Wine and Wisdom, folks, that debriefs the week that was in the world of finance and property, hosted by yours truly, Jason Whitton and Andy Fenton on Fridays. Hey, good morning, folks.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat.
Hope you're well, folks, wherever you are.
There it is, team. Morning. Morning, wherever you're tuning in from today.
Early bird gets the worm, they say. Here at Positive, we offer a 6-star team. It's a team that help you at every stage of your wealth creation journey. Well, hello. Good morning. Good to see a couple of the early birds up and at it already. Welcome to Wealth Coffee Chats, folks. While things are warming up, we'll do the quick intros as we always do. If you don't already know, Jason Whitton's my name. Most of you know that, though. But if you don't, and if you're brand new, great to have you here. Thanks for joining us today. Well, give us a bit of a shout out in the chat. Let us know where you are, what you're up to. You're always welcome along. Wealth Coffee Chats. We've been doing this for a little while. We've been helping property investors. Matter of fact, over 22 years. I've been property investing 25 years. And along the way, we've done a few deals, folks. And that's what we get together and have a bit of a chat about in the morning. The Wealth Coffee Chats, 10 past 8. Myself, Jason Whitton, and the team. Finance, accounting, financial planning, coaching. We do a little bit of a round robin on the Wealth Coffee Chats in the morning to help you stay on track. Make sure you go the distance when it comes to investing, folks. So welcome along. Good to have you here. Brad's in the house. How are you, Brad? Good to see you, mate. Alison, haven't seen you for a little while. Hope you're well, buddy. Hope you're awesome. Hope you're well. I'm sure you are in the world of investing and in general. There you go. Hey, listen, this morning I thought I might talk about a little something. You guys have seen this conversation before. We've talked about the idea of our 3 phases of investing. And I wanted to talk about that today and what we might need to understand, what we might need to do in these 3 phases, right? The first phase, acquisition phase. The middle phase, consolidation phase, where we get ourselves together. The last phase, lifestyle, legacy phase, where, at some point we might want to transform some of our wealth into a passive income. We might have something different we might do with our lives. We might retire. I don't like that word, but we might end up getting on with life rather than having to work. Or a bit of a combo, whatever it might be, right? So the 3 phases of investing, and play along in the chat if you want to as we go along here. But there we go. Oh, there you go. Alison, yeah, the buffer is an important piece to have in place. Well, good to see. Pat, morning. How are you, mate? Good to have you here. Hey, listen, we thought we might go through this, right? The acquisition stage. What do we do in the acquisition stage? Well, the idea is we're buying, right? We're buying. And there's 4 pieces in here, maybe 5, let's say, that I like the idea of all of us understanding. Number 1, we need to understand what the 3 lanes of wealth are, right? The 3 lanes of wealth. The 3 lanes of wealth for most of you on this call, maybe put them in the chat. What are the 3 lanes of wealth that we talk about all the time? First one, your principal place of residence. Your home is a wealth lane. It's an asset that grows over time. It has some benefits if you take advantage of that. Your super is a wealth lane, and your investment portfolio, your investment property portfolio. 3 lanes of wealth as we go along in the acquisition phase. What are we doing to these 3, and how are we building them over a period of time? All right, the 3 lanes of wealth. We've got the 3 stages we're talking about right here. We need to understand, install the 3 stages as we go through the acquisition, the consolidation lifestyle. And when we get ourselves organized here, we deploy what we call the 7 plans. What are the 7 plans? Well, there's an acquisition plan, a plan of buying the right types of properties. For me, for you, most of us should be purchasing between 5 and 7 investment properties, depending on what you're aiming for as a minimum as we go along. 5 to 7 investment properties as we go along. And we need a finance plan. So we got an acquisition plan, a finance plan, a tax minimization plan, so an accounting plan. You've got a financial plan. You've got an acceleration plan. You've got an exit plan. As we go forward, right? We need to understand all of these things. And most importantly, a property management plan. Like, how do you manage your properties over time? Now, those 7 plans, they're really connected to the different pieces of putting this puzzle together as an investor. We're in the acquisition phase, 3 lanes of wealth, your home, your super, your investment properties, your 7 plans, finance, accounting, tax, property management, financial planning, an acceleration plan. We call that a trading plan, where it's a bit more advanced as you go along, and then an exit plan. At some point, there'll be a plan where you transform some things, right, as you go along. Now, the 4X growth strategy, or the 4X growth matrix, Sam's growth matrix. We apply the 4X growth matrix in there, right? So for all of us as investors, we have a look at which state, which city, what type of property, when and how will we buy them, those sorts of things, right? As we go along. And then you've got to make sure you've got your 6-star team involved, your 6-star team. For property investors, there are 6 people that are vital in your world when it comes to creating your portfolio, who should be involved all the time. Your property investment coach. We all need a strategy coach when it comes to high-level property understanding. We need a finance broker who understands investment real estate. You need a buyer's agent, an investment agent when it comes to building your portfolio. You need a property manager who's going to take care of things. They spend the most time at your real estate. You need an accountant who understands the right understanding of tax and property and how to maximize it. And last but not least, you need a financial planner who can, at the right point, put certain things together for you as you go along. Hey, morning, Chris. Good to see you, mate. And in this stage here, folks, what's the catch cry? In the acquisition stage, put it in the chat for me. In the first, let's say, 7 to 15 years, depending on how long it takes you to get these 5 to 7 properties, what's the number one thing? What's our little marching tune? What's the number one thing? What's my catch cry? I always say, because I'm always talking about the acquisition stage. Put it in the chat to me. What do? We get on with it, and we crack on. It's time to invest. But there's one little sentence that can really make the most of it here when it comes to this stuff, right? Put it in the chat for me. But really, at the end of the day, this is what the whole point. It's buy well, never sell, right? Buy well, never sell. That's it, Allison. Thanks, Brad. Yeah, exactly. This stage, do all the work, folks. Do all the work, but don't bloody sell the things, right? Now, the idea here is buying well. You've got to buy something decent. You might buy a hunk of junk, unintentionally. We'll talk about that in a minute. But this is the thing, right? The 3 lanes of wealth, the 7 plans, the 4X growth strategy, and your 6-star team. Get them installed, folks. Get them installed. That will take care of that acquisition phase, okay, as you go along. Now, the consolidation phase, okay? This is where you've started to acquire assets, and over time, they start to go up. They start to do their thing. Well, what do we need in this phase? What do we need to focus on and concentrate on? Over here, we call it the 3 M's of this phase, right? The consolidation phase. Manage, maintain, and maximize. Manage, maintain, maximize. Get your fingers right, Jason. Manage, maintain, maximize. Okay, how do we do that, right? So over here, do you need to add value, right? Right. Sounds like Allison's right there. Allison's into it right now, knee deep in a bathroom renovation, right? So, bathroom reno, maybe it's a maintenance thing. Maybe it's the increasing the value and the rents, or a bit of all of it. Allison's, there you go. And it does take time. The first 2 or 3 are the hardest part of this process, folks. The first 2 or 3 are the hardest part of this process. Adding value. Add value to your principal place of residence. Add value to your investment properties. Why would we add value to those properties? Well, number 1, they increase the available equity for deposits. Number 2, not only do they increase the value, but your rental properties, you can increase your income. Most of us run out of income serviceability before we run out of deposits, buying power. Okay. So that's always something we're always trying to solve, right? As we go along, add value, maximize the rents, max rents, folks. Always be checking in. How do I manage to get my rents up? Now, for me, over time, now 50% of my portfolio, because it's in certain locations, we furnish. Okay, long-term rental furnished. That's one of my strategies, to bump the rent, another 1.5% on my rental yield. Great depreciation. Instead of renting for a 4.5% yield, I'm getting a 5.5-6% yield on full-time rented property, which is fantastic, which is great. Okay. Number 3, make sure you understand and leverage what we call the equity arbitrage. Okay. If you've got, and some call it, debt reduction or debt recycling. And we're going to talk about that tonight in mentoring, folks. So if you haven't registered for tonight, we're going to go through in some detail debt reduction strategies and debt recycling strategies. So equity arbitrage. If you're now starting to build some equity in your portfolio, you might have $100,000 that you could borrow at, let's say, 5.5%, and you could go do some deals, some trading deals, some other types of investment activity. You might be able to make 10%, 12%, 15%, 20%. So equity arbitrage. This is an idea that as you get enough equity, and there's some ability for you to do some different types of deals, you can speed up your returns. All right, in this sort of phase. And this is important to get the debt reduction down, and it's your non-deductible debt, right? So non-deductible debt. Usually your principal place of residence, your PPR, that's the one you focus on first, right? That debt, you smash the principal place of residence debt down. You can borrow against it for investment purposes. The income and stuff that you create from that can smash that down a lot faster. So this is where we got to make sure at this stage, we're not trying to debt reduce our investment properties, because that's not the most effective use of extra stuff, and we go debt reduction, equal debt recycling. If you're in that phase, if you're in that section, okay, as you go along. Now, what else can we do here? Really, at the end of the day, this is where sometimes we might have a need to sell something. We might. Remember I said never sell? Well, that's really the mentality you've got to have in that first 15 years, is just buy the damn things and keep hold of them, because most people give up too soon. Okay, most people give up too soon. Why might you sell? It's a very strategic conversation about selling, and selling's probably not the right conversation. It's like, but let's call it sell. Why would you sell? There's 3 reasons. You've got a dud property, right? It's just a dud. You thought you were, you thought it was going to be fine, and then it wasn't, right? No one's perfect. I've owned plenty of duds as well, and it's just not cutting the mustard, right? But you got to give it some time. It was a dud. For me, I've got my 3rd very old property that I'm selling, and the reason I'm selling a couple of these properties is because they're in stratas, and they're in stratas. And it doesn't matter what I do to the inside of that property, the outside is very difficult to maximize, okay? Now, I've got no issues with buying units. I've got plenty of units in my portfolio. But many years ago, this is 15, 16 years ago, I bought some secondhand properties in fantastic locations. And so what I'm doing now is I'm selling the old one. It's doubled in value. I'm very happy. I bought it for 300, and I'm getting I've got an offer in at 880. We're going to try and get it to 900. I'm ecstatic. It's done its job, right? But it's old. Okay, so I'm going to move on from that property. But what I've done, and I'll talk to you in a minute of why, then I'm going to buy a brand new property with it. I'm cycling the old one, and I'm buying a brand new one. I'm upgrading. I'm not sort of taking the money out of the game. I'm upgrading the money. I'm upgrading the location. I'm upgrading the type of property. I'll pay a little bit of tax in the transfer. I'll minimize some of that as you go. You know what I mean? And then the other reason is you're transferring some of your wealth from a taxed situation to a non-taxed situation. We'll talk about that in a minute, okay? So it's a dud, it's old, or you're transforming some of your wealth into a more efficient place as you go. Yeah, there you go. Waterproofing. Yeah, one of my ones. It was an apartment. I don't know, it's 40 years old or something. Beautiful spot, like 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2-car garage, overlooking the water. Just fantastic piece of real estate, good location. But in the walls, they had this old plastic piping that exploded like all the time. There you go. Yeah. As we go along. All right. So this is what's going on, right? So lifestyle and legacy. This is an important piece down here, which is the point. There's a transformation. So transformation. So it's an interesting thing to understand that over here we might have in this section here, in acquisition stage, we're in a high taxed environment, right? Even though we can minimize it, folks. So over here, our personal name. When you own assets in your personal name, you can, or when you earn income in your personal name, you can be taxed at you can be taxed. Yeah, mate. I do need a decent plumber, Luke. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Yeah. We ended up having to rip all the walls out and replumb the whole bloody unit. It's all done now, but all of the 15 units ended up with significant issues because the piping was rubbish from the developer a long time ago. So anyway, so high tax environment. And over here, if we do this right, we will have a no tax environment, right? So at some point, we go from a high tax environment or high tax ownership or high tax structure to a no tax structure, if possible, depending on what we're up to. And this is where this transformation occurs, okay? And I might do this tomorrow because we're running out of time, but there's a model we have which is called personal super structures. Personal super structures. Personal super structures. And tonight, actually, if you come along to mentoring tonight, I know many of you will, Andy Fenton's going to dive into this section as well, this personal superstructures section, because technically you can have around about $6 million worth of assets, depending on how you're structured, and pay zero income tax up to about 500K of income. And a significant amount of that will be capital gains tax free as well, depending on how you own those assets. So, you know, there's not a bad little aim to go on as you go into the future. Now, obviously down here, this is when you have you're over the age of 60 and some transformations occur. In the middle here, we can be effective and minimize your tax using depreciation and smart strategies on how we own and buy and keep and whatever. So this is the point. We go from a high taxed environment to a low to no taxed environment. And, you know, we go from a high risk environment, let's say. So high risk, you're borrowing, you're doing lots of stuff, you're taking some risk. And then as you go through, the risk reduces because your debt reduces, your assets increase, your wealth increases. You know, and financially, as your incomes increase, passive incomes increase, your debts reduce, and your wealth increases, you know, technically that risk, you know, relatively goes down. Okay, if you own $10 million worth of assets and you got no debt, you know, what's your risk? It's pretty low, right? When it comes to that sort of stuff, pretty low. Anyway, there you go. Come tonight to mentoring. We're doing debt recycling and also the transformation conversation. Andy's going to dine out on that for us tonight, folks. So there you go. Perfect, Chris. Yep, did the upgrade strategy. Yeah. Well, Shay and I are just doing that one right now as well. So that's one of the other properties we're selling. We sold. We've sold 2 in our super and 1 in our personal name. The 2 in our super did their thing, but we're transforming that into a brand new property as well. So you're on it, Chris. You're all over it, mate. Love it. Absolutely love it. All right. Well, that's it. Wealth Coffee Chat done and dusted. Be good. Be well, folks. Join us tomorrow for another one. The team will be, I think it's the tax team on tomorrow, and they'll be doing all things taxes. I'm sure they'll come up with something interesting. There's Andy Fenton right there. What are you doing, Fenton?
Mate, I thought I'd just drop by and say good day because we're on tonight at mentoring, and I thought I won't let you do Monday by yourself, but we're sitting there for a little bit, but looking forward to catching up with all the team tonight and running through the tax-free strategies and also looking at some of the debt recycling stuff, the strategies that some of the super rich use, but not exclusively available for them. I think it's much more broadly used. So interested to sort of show some people how that they can maybe start to get their deposits for their houses if they've got a principal place of residence but can't quite crack in. Maybe they're wanting to have a process whereby they can have like a 3 to 5 year plan where they can just keep on using a strategy to. G'day, Alison. Good to see you on the call. A way of being able to continue that sort of property journey of being able to, you know, acquire more ones without necessarily needing to produce any more by way of assets than what they've already got. So a few little things up the sleeve, mate. Looking forward to sharing it with everybody tonight.
Happy days, mate. I'm looking forward to it as well. I'll take the back seat tonight. You're the driver, so that's good.
That could be dangerous. That could be dangerous.
Happy days. All right, folks. Well, thanks for joining us today, and join myself and Andy tonight. Adios. Take care. Bye for now.
See you, team. See you tonight.
Thanks for watching another episode of Wealth Coffee Chat, folks. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you never miss a thing when we go live. Improve your portfolio and investing game, folks, with Wealth Coffee Chats live every morning at 8:10 each weekday. Make sure you join us. Previous episodes are also available wherever you get your podcasts, folks, as well as our other